And I am live. Welcome to another episode of Mondays with Miko. This is my crime data edition, and I have a wonderful guest. Her name is Kelli Williams. She's a dear, dear friend of mine. Man, so let me go ahead and set up my sharing as well. Just give me a couple minutes, and then we'll jump right in. I tell you, it's been a very exciting week. I so for some of you who do not know, there's a couple. I do the nonprofit. I'm on sabbatical right now, so I'm the executive director of Pick 42 Foundation, currently on sabbatical, so I can run for office. But I also, my husband and I, we own a property management business and also a travel agency. So I'm looking for some agents to join both of those businesses. Just a little plug there. So if you're interested in property management or you're interested, if you're an experienced travel agent, we are at the time recruiting agents because in about another month, y'all, I'm gonna be kind of busy. So I'm gonna need some help keep my businesses going. So election day is less than a month away. Can you believe it? So, by the way, if you're joining me, let me know that you're with me. Say what's up. Also, remember, like and share. If you're watching on replay, I thank you so much for watching on replay. I get a lot of conversations that happen after the conversation. But I tell you, the best way is to get involved in the conversation right now. So if you are on, uh-oh, I think I may be about to lose my power. Let me see. Let me get some power over here. If you are on, oh, bear with me, guys. Please like and share and let's get involved. Let's get involved. Let's hear some questions. Oh, this week, there's some important dates that are coming up this week. I do have some dates screening, I'm streaming across the bottom, and then I'll share those dates with you after the call. But just at a high level, this Friday, I'm going to be speaking at the NAACP Forum at the Beeson Building. Tomorrow, there's a city hall, a city council meeting at City Hall. So I will be texting everybody that's on my text list to let you know about that. There's a town hall that I'm having next Friday in LaShonda Neesmith Jackson, Florence City Councilwoman LaShonda Neesmith Jackson, a good friend of mine. She is going to be moderating that event. It's going to be at the Vaughn Room, which is gorgeous. Let me tell you, y'all. The ballroom is like Rich Colton and Mullins. So I can't wait for you all to come out. It's a free event. We're gonna have appetizers and DJ and things like that. And, we'll have a facilitated question and answer. So if you have any questions that you would like for the town hall, please send them to me, or you can also bring them to the event. And voting, believe it or not next Monday, the Monday after that, voting actually starts. So we can start taking people to the polls. I am in need of volunteers. So if you would like to volunteer, please go to my website, mikoformayor.com. You can donate as well as volunteer on that website. So it's exciting times. It was an exciting week last week. Yes, we got to vote early. Listen, let's do this and let's do it early. Um, I lost my voice at least 3 times. So hopefully my husband can hear me so he can bring me some water. So it was a great weekend. I spent time with my husband, the class of 81, and his class through alumni. I was out at the alumni events. I went to St. Paul Church this Sunday, and I went to the fundraiser. Thank you so much, hon. Um, and sweet. But yeah, so I went to the fundraiser for the band this weekend as well. So it's been a very, very busy week. Very, very busy week, and my voice is paying for it. All right. So more to come on that. Once we finish this segment, then I'll come back and I'll remind you about some of the dates. So what is it we're going to be talking about today? I'm calling it the crime data edition. And this next person that I'm gonna bring to the stage, she has been on my show a number of times. She's a dear friend of mine, and let's just go ahead and bring her. Kelli Williams. Kelly R. Williams, let me say. Welcome to the show.
How y'all doing?
Awesome, awesome, awesome. So I'm gonna do the normal introductions, even though I feel like you do not need one. So, Kelli Williams, and let me get it right. She's now with the Justice Center as a project manager. So, Kelly, can you
Correct.
tell the people what is your job and what do you do?
Well, first of all, thank you again for having me on Mondays for Miko. Is always a great time. So, yes, I am now with the Justice Center. I will be there a year as of January 2025. And I have the honor and the privilege of traveling our beautiful country, having conversations with our local law enforcement, prosecutors, DAs, judges, probationary officers, as well as those who write the law and our policy, from our state legislators, from the state level, all the way down to our local leaders, including the mayors and city council. So within my job and my role, our team collects the data. We collect all the data and the statistics when it comes to the criminal justice system within the criminal justice sectors. And
So let's
from
talk about
there,
let's talk about that, right? Because you know
mhm,
my background. I'm a data geek. 20
yes.
years in business intelligence, right? So you and I, we can geek out right here talking about data. So as not to drive everybody else crazy, when we say data and statistics, like specifically, what are you looking at? Yeah, I'm going to use the term bean counting. So if you were counting beans, what is it that you're counting in your job?
In my job, I want to look at the trends. I want to see where we can help within the criminal justice system to create better just policies and legislation, where we can help our local leaders come up with, better ideas on how they can fund and resource our local law enforcement. I also want to see how we can work with agencies who are giving us this data, such as law enforcement. How can they better advocate for themselves and tell their story? And how can they somewhat be transparent to the communities that they serve, so the people will know what's going on, but also they can show themselves in a positive light on what really matters, and how we can see that is within the data. Because one thing I've learned working with so many attorneys, the facts lie within the data, and the data doesn't lie.
Yeah, and not only that, one of the things, definitely, one of the things that I've been talking about on the campaign trail. Well, I'm not one to brag. I'm really not. But other folks have been talking about the grants that I've been able to get for the foundation. And some people, believe it or not, Kelly, talk about it in a derogatory way. It's a good thing, y'all.
It's a
We're,
great thing. It's a
and you
good
know
thing.
why we're able to get those grants for the community is because we have the data.
Right.
At Pick 42 Foundation, we track every single encounter with the community. And the reason why, when you come to a Pick 42 Foundation event, we're asking you for how many people in your family or any seniors in your family. And so then we could turn that information around when we're telling our story to get grants. So when I found out
Exactly.
that Kelly Williams was in the data collection business, I was like, oh, this is a match made in heaven, sis. So, so when you're talking about the data and what you're counting, what are some ways that you can, like, can you get information for just the city of Mullins? And in
Yeah.
what other
I
ways can you look at it?
Yeah, so it's a few ways. Now, I like to, like me personally, I'm born and raised in Mullins, but when it comes to this, I never really looked at Mullins data.
Hmm.
Um, Mullins, of course, well, take this back. All police officers, for example, so when you use law enforcement, they have systems where they report up to the FBI, which the most of them are NIBRS compliant. and I wish I would have pulled up the acronym for NIBRS, but it's NIBERS, NIBRS compliant, and
Mhm.
that's where this things that they have, where there's calls for arrests, their staffing reporting, any type of use of force data, they report that up to the FBI through their NIBRS. And that's how I'm able to pull Mullen specifically. But with the organization that I'm with, that is federally funded by the Bureau of Justice Assistance, which, back to Miko's point, have grants and fund our local law enforcement. We have created a dashboard that people can utilize to be able to put their data on, so they not only can use it for themselves to advocate and be able to show some type of transparency internally, but also public facing as well, so they can put it on their websites, because a lot of local rural communities, and as we know, Mullins is a very rural community, sometimes they don't
Right.
have the resources and the money to invest in these big dashboards that can show the data, that can show the trends, such as departments like NYPD, who have like millions and millions of dollars of a budget. So what I do in return, not only we collecting data, but we do provide them the tools and resources if they want to create their own platform to use, to be able to put on their website, but also be able to use internally if they don't want to use it public facing. We can create a dashboard to take the numbers off their spreadsheets, because most rural departments I go to have spreadsheets, and then they go and put in the NIBR system. They can actually put it into our system to be able to show on an aggregated level the data and the trends that's happening, so they can be able to show those reports. And if they go to city council and mayor and want to advocate for, they need some more body cams, or they need new, equipment, or they need more staffing, they are able to show through our platform.
Absolutely, absolutely. Because data is king. It really is, you know. So a couple things. Were you able to pull any data on Mullins from Neighbors?
Did so great thing. Mullins is in a great standing versus a lot of agencies that I look in. So Mullins for his population is a little over 4,000 individuals, 4,290 to be exact. When I pulled the data, I only saw so far with reported crimes only 41. When it came to like robbery, it was 7. Property crimes were a little bit high, but we also consider those low level offenses. It was 226. Larceny theft was 119. Automotive was 8, and arson was 2, which is good.
So
Even
that's what
though
I
the
wanted to
numbers,
be.
yeah,
So I wanted to be clear on that. So Mullins, because you give me those numbers, but those numbers really don't mean a lot unless you're looking at it per capita, right?
exactly.
Because it's how many people live in a certain amount of area, and how much crime is going on in that area. So are you saying that Mullins we're safe here?
Mullins is very safe. Very safe.
Well, that's good to hear. That's good to hear. And I mean, we got work to do. We know that.
Absolutely.
One crime is too much, right?
Absolutely.
And I'm one that thinks that, um, there's other things we could do, right? We need to give
Mhm.
people opportunities and things like that. And, and I'm gonna go back to the grants because, if you're able to get grants, right, and we could supplement those nonprofits, and if you're interested, I've been talking to a couple people who says they want to start nonprofits. Listen, I have somebody that can help you. The same person that helped me start Pick 42 Foundation 10 years ago. She's still in the business. She's still doing it. If you have a heart for the people, do it. Because if you're able to create a nonprofit and you know what you're doing, well, then you can get grant money and you can
Yes.
pay living wages. Versus, so, when as an example, at Pick 42 Foundation, when we get our grants, we make sure that we spend our money in our local area first, right? So yes, sometimes we have to go to Walmart. If we go to Walmart, we're going to Walmart Mullins. Walmart Mullins is a big supporter of our area. But we'll go. Sometimes we have to go to Lowe's or Home Depot, but that's not after first trying Ace Hardware and Gapway. The hardware on Gapway. When we needed to expand space at Pick 42 Foundation because we had a program, we rented space right next door to us that wasn't being used. So we were able to take grant money and move it all up and down Main Street. When we get money for farmers, we're able to give it right directly, keep that money at home. So if others are able to do that, create living wages, put back into our local businesses, then in turn, the local businesses can do better and then they can create higher wages. One hand washes the other. We're all, like I say, we're stronger together. Right? So
Absolutely.
sorry for
Oh,
taking us down that rabbit
you
hole.
know how I feel about grants. I still have my nonprofit organization, Inland Benevolence Foundation, which I did a lot of work when I lived in Mullins there, from
Tell
giving
them. Tell
students
the
free.
people. Yeah, please tell them
Yeah,
what and
I
when.
gave students free laptops during the pandemic. I gave them free Wi-Fi routers as well during the pandemic. Through my grant, through my mentoring program, I was able to expose a lot of the youth who are now adults, and I'm so proud of them. I was seeing them on the videos and pictures during alumni weekend. Was able to take them to Atlanta, Georgia to do college tours. I was able to take them to Washington, D.C. to view our nation's capital. It was just so much. And then, of course, I do my advocacy work as well too. But we're able to educate voters as well too through our partners, like with Black Voters Matter, for example, where we get a lot of grants through to be able to educate the community on civic programs. And it's all because of grant funding. I've been able to do that since 2016 in Mullins, South Carolina. Now, granted, now I have moved down here in Horry, but Mullins still have a small soft spot for my heart when it comes to philanthropy work.
Well, and look, and so you're working. So the Justice Center is a nonprofit.
Yes, it's a nonprofit.
So okay, so you're working for a nonprofit and you're still giving back to Mullins. We appreciate your expertise, right? So when you look at data, there's a couple things. Um, you know, do you guys track how many crimes are done by repeat offenders?
Yes, we do. And that's where with our organization, we have three different divisions. So I'm, of course, in the data collection. And with that, we're able to see where the repeat offenders are looking like. And I tell people you move through a system. So you start with law enforcement, and then you move to defense or prosecution. And then from there, you go to the jails and the prisons. And then from there, if you get out, you go to community supervision, which are like our probationary officers and stuff like that. But it's like, how do with from probationary office standpoint, how do we get these individuals to stay out, not go back
Right.
in? So with the other two
Meaning
divisions that
because they create, if you get into the system, you do time, and then you come out. One of the things that I was surprised that I went to the 25th anniversary of Essence, and it was in 2019. It's actually the precipice of me deciding to retire.
Mhm.
And at that event, they had a panel on a reentry program. And I was surprised to find out that people get out of prison, some of them with $25, and
Yes,
sent back and told that they have to have a job with a criminal
yes.
record. How's
We
that going to
have
happen?
no, well, now I can honestly say our legislators are doing a better job at now signing bills into the law when it comes around to reentry.
Oh,
One of
okay.
our divisions, we work on the reentry 3030 program, in which they go in state by state and they are helping implement programs that can help with reentry. And not only with reentry, we just got I think it was Maryland as well as in Washington State. That division, again, not my division, but that division worked in where they're able to get Medicaid and Medicare for prisoners as well. So especially for juveniles. So juveniles, once you go into the system, you're not technically under your parents' insurance or anything no more. So they recently just passed up under that these programs that we're implementing, just trying to better the system where the kids, if they are in prison and jail, they're able to stay on their parents' able to stay on Medicaid up until age 26 because they still have to get the health care and the things that they need. So reentry is just not how can we transfer them back out into society, but even how can we help them while they are incarcerated. So once they do get out, we can help them. And it's a great program that started also in Michigan. And his name is Major Jason Gould. He's an amazing local law enforcement, but he started a program
Mm-hmm.
called Ignite. And
Mm-hmm.
with Ignite, he was able to get it funded by the state legislators in Michigan. And now he's across like his program is across like 10 states. And his goal is to actually have it across the country. And with the Ignite program, which I thought was amazing, they can get a college degree. They're able to help them with their finances, counseling. It's really developing them so when they get out, they're actually to able to function again in society. Because, like you stated, once they get out, they give them $25 and like go, go forth. But they don't know anything because they wasn't redeveloped to actually transition back into society after they got out of prison. So of course they're going to be repeat offenders. So with the Ignite program is to be able to get people back in. It's also a grant funded program that they're implementing across the states. And I would love to see, because I'm actually traveling to Michigan to go and speak with Major Gould face to face for the first time in 2 weeks. And I would love to see something like that here in South Carolina, but you just need a willing department or agency to want to implement the program and test it out. Miko is coming back. She lost power. But Ignite, you can just go to their website. Is literally spelled as Ignite Michigan. And you can be able to get involved there. I'm actually going to drop their website so Miko can put it out for people to be able to look at the program that they have with Ignite. And I just dropped the link.
Awesome. Thank you so much. Listen, this happened to me last week too. Okay, okay. So y'all, I am not a professional podcaster. And I'm gonna go ahead and drop it here so everybody can see it. I apologize for leaving my gas on alert like that. So I knew my cell phone was dying, but I forgot to plug it
You
in.
forgot to plug it. Oh man, Miko.
So I wasn't connected to the power. So hopefully I'm good to go. I apologize and thank you for keeping the conversation going. When I'm mayor, I'm gonna look into this Ignite because really I would love it if you're out there and you're listening and you bear through that little technical mishap. Um, we're talking about crime data. And if you have a passion if you currently have a nonprofit that's working with people on reentry programs, I'd love to connect you with Kelly so that we could bring those reentry programs, some semblance of it, to Mullins. Because the way, and another one of the ways that we can help with crime is knowing that if we're able to give that person who's coming out of the prison system, coming back into our local communities, place to live, a job, maybe a car, let's give them a start. Let's give them a start.
Exactly.
You know, and I'm real. I know what happens in the prison system, right? My cousin, he did a lot of years in jail, and he told me one of the things he learned about prison was how to be a real good crook. So we have to combat that. I really think that we need to combat that. But I want to take a little bit of a turn. And guys, I'm here with Kelli Williams. This is the crime data edition. Had a little bit of a technical difficulty, so if you're still with us, um, I appreciate you. But I'm back. I'm back. No, really, please let this stay. Want to talk about kids, right? Because one of the things um, I am really impressed with, I'm impressed with a lot of things about Mullins, but over the years, the relationship that I feel that I have with our chief of police has grown, right? When he was always open. He was always coming down to our office, wanting to talk to us. Our local police department, they're involved in Halloween and toys and toy drive, and we partner on a lot of things. And I think I know a lot of that is because of our current chief of police, and I really thank him for his service and commitment to the community. One thing that him and I have had just a brief conversation on, and we're going to have more conversation, is on community policing. Because I don't want, a lot of times, these children, their first interaction with the police is when the police are coming to do something bad to somebody that they love, right? I think that a way that we can, no, I know that. I want our children to want to grow up to be police so that the people who are policing us, if I can use the term policing, I'm sure there's a better term, Kelly, but policing us, I want them to be from Mullins.
Right.
I grew up, with Officer Bob, and Officer Bob is somebody I want to be like, so that when I graduate, I'm going to take the test, I'm going to pass the test, and I'm going to be a Mullins police officer. How awesome
Absolutely.
would that be?
It'll be awesome. I can honestly say, number one, Captain Matowski has always been an amazing person. I know when I was there,
He's
we
chief
had a
now.
oh yeah, Chief. Oh yeah, I'm sorry, Chief Matowski. Congratulations as well. Was an amazing person, always open to hear. Because I know when with the George Floyd issue that happened, and I believe
Hmm.
you were in that conversation as
I
well.
was. Hmm.
Um, Miko, I, and a few other activists came together and met with the local law enforcement. And at the time, he was captain, and they were so eager to have the conversation to make sure that things like that did not happen in our small town. And he wanted to know how he can better police the community in a way that is engaging. And community engagement policing is what I like to call it. And like you said, yeah, having those role models to see. I know me growing up, we had Bobby Crawford, we had Missy Lewis, that was from Mullins, from Marion County.
Missy
And
was
they,
is a female police officer.
yeah,
She was
Missy, she's
okay.
no longer with the police department no more. But me growing up, we knew her. We knew Bobby Crawford. So it was
Hmm.
like, we saw that positive image within them. I grew up right behind the sheriff. God rest his soul. By oh Lord, Willie Page was the sheriff at one time in Marion County. He was my next door neighbor,
Mm.
and was a native of Mullins, born and raised. So having being able to see people that that's also not just a person but also serving your community in a way to protect you is huge. And how you do that is through programs. Again, like I said, I live here in Horry County now, and Horry County, of course, is a larger area, so of course it may have a little bit more resources than what Mullins do. But not saying that Mullins cannot have the same level of resources, because again, the funding is there. So I know one thing, my best friend, her husband's a police officer. He works for North Myrtle Beach. And one thing I admire about them is the fact they have a program for children, which is a camp. It's a police camp. So
Okay.
basically, for a week out the summer, the kids can come and learn about everything about police officers. They can learn about safety, how to protect themselves, how to protect their homes and their community, but looking at police officers in a positive way. And that's one way, and Mullins is already doing a great job. I know they do the night out with the police officers. Of course, the Halloween candy drive that has
Shop
taken
shop with
off.
a car, toy
Yeah, it's
drive.
not a tour drive. But I feel like, we can take it a step further and be able to help them creating a program where they can go into the schools. And I would say starting like from middle school, because that's that prickly age where a lot of kids, hormones is going everywhere. They think they know everything. So they're out, and a lot of kids are receptive to join gangs starting in middle school. So if we can create programs like that to pull them from middle school and work them all the way up through high school, and also teaching them how they can go to the process of going to the academy, saying, hey, because a lot of people think you have to go to school or get a degree, which it would be great, because as a political science major, it would be great to know how the system works, but you don't
Mhm.
necessarily have to. And ensuring that the kids' record stays clean as well, and letting them know that while they're in school, if you are wanting to be a police officer, your background has to stay clean. You have to be willing to do things in a right manner. So when you get to the point of wanting to go to the academy, you can go to the academy and be a success. And I think that's a lot of the hurdle. I know when I was in Mullins and was having those conversations, it wasn't the fact that they didn't want individuals from Mullins. It was just the fact of just really trying to find qualified candidates. But how we can get resolve that issue is implementing programs such as like the police camp.
Exactly, through the youth. And, Kelly, I'm thinking younger. I'm thinking
Yeah.
elementary school because, you think about it, I'm 55 years old. If somebody right now is 13 years old, no, 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 not even 13. If they're 10 years old right now, right, that means what's that about? Fourth grade?
No, it should be, yeah, fourth or fifth grade. Yeah.
Fourth or fifth grade? So in 10 years, that 10-year-old would be 20.
Yes.
They could be a police officer.
Yes.
That's the person that I want policing my community. Somebody that has been, and not only that, now we can get those jobs to the point where those are good jobs,
Right.
living wage
And
jobs,
I will not
and
even
and
get to
and,
police.
and in Mullins we do. I believe the chief told me that he's been able to, in Marion County, the Mullins Police Department is one of the highest paying, if not the highest paying. So, so that I really think we need to start young. We need to give these children something to aspire to. You're talking 10-year-olds in 10 years, which is no time. Kelly, you're still in your 30s or 30, I forget. Did you turn 30?
I am 33. Yeah.
33. 10 years, you're 43. You're still super young. We need to start right now with that. So that is something, and I'm going to be picking your brain
And
when I
also, what I
win.
want And I want to add to not just law enforcement, just getting into the criminal justice system as a whole. I had the privilege of going to the California District Attorneys Association, and I presented at the California District Attorneys Association, and me learning that we lack, like prosecutors, especially in the African American community. And I don't want to make it about race, but when it comes to mass incarceration, the Black community is the highest population that is incarcerated.
Right.
So I want people to look at every entry point in criminal justice, from law enforcement to probationary officers to defense attorneys, prosecutor attorneys, judges, magistrate judges. People don't understand sheriffs, they're elected roles. Being able to look at every entry point and starting them off young so we can be able to help change the system, but
Yes.
also diversify the system as well.
Yes. Yes. Absolutely. Absolutely. So, I am going to be reaching back out to you on that. It will be a major focus. It's something that we have to do, and it is something that I feel that our chief is committed to. So that's good news. Um, so a couple things we learned for those of you that are just joining us. I'm on with Kelli Williams. Kelly is with the Justice Center. She's a project manager there. She focuses on data. And she presented us with some data about Mullins. We found out that Mullins is a safe place, which is awesome. We found out that we have a lot of opportunities in Mullins, and when I'm mayor, there's a lot of ways that we can connect with Kelly and bring those opportunities to the table. Get this good data so we can get access to resources. So before we sign off, I would be remiss if I did not bring up. I went to the museum, the Tobacco Museum, which is a state museum, y'all, right here in Mullins. The Tobacco Museum had an exhibit open of the African American Mullins experience, and specifically, they talked about, and I learned a lot about King Putin. And as I was sitting there and listening to the facts about, Pluto and his generation and all the people, I would miss a whole bunch of people if I started naming them. But you all know the descendants of Pluto. And, and I think about him a lot. Think about his courage and how he came over here, by mistake and, wouldn't change his name. It's like all those awesome things, and I'm like inventing my own version of him in my head. But that being said, I know you wrote a book. I think is it My Wildest Dream, My Ancestors' Wildest Dream?
Yeah, I am my ancestors' wildest dream. A legacy must live on.
And I read your book, I read your book, probably a couple times. If I, because I read it and then excerpts. And I'm in my, I have two offices. I don't have the book here in this office. It's in my other office. Could you share an excerpt of that book with us as we
I
sign off today?
sure can because I have it right here.
Awesome.
Um, I want to thank God for Putu for passing on the same spirit of determination to me, which I found that his name and proved his existence. If it wasn't for Putu, I would not be here today. His strength, his courage, his tenacity to not only make the journey of the transatlantic slave trade, but to make the journey from Charleston, South Carolina to Reeves Township, which is now known as Mullen, South Carolina. He was known as a breeder, but he was also known as a strong man who did not give up and did not allow adversity to come against him. Hutu is not only a descendant of mine, but I am his wildest dream.
Yes. Love it, sis. Goosebumps. Goosebumps. And on that, I thank you for your time. I thank you
Oh,
for
thank you.
what you're doing nationwide and also just being available for little old Mullins.
Always, Mullins always have a special place in my heart, for sure.
Oh, well, until next time, dear friend, I thank you so much.
Thank you.
All right, so that, y'all, whew, I mean, I got goosebumps. The topic of crime and data is not an easy topic, but it's something as mayor, you're gonna have to deal with, and you're gonna have to learn about, and you have to understand. So, it's good to know that we are a safe community. We have our challenges, absolutely. No one says we don't have our challenges, but there's ways that we can even get better. And when you see our law enforcement officers in their new trucks, how about this? Let's change. Let's wave at them. Maybe when you pull you over, if we know them by name, they'll skip you on that ticket. How about that? Okay, I'm just playing. I'm not even. I shouldn't even said any of that. But anyway, that being said, this is a busy week this week. This tomorrow is the city council meeting at City Hall. If you can attend, please attend at 6 o'clock on Tuesday. On Friday, I will be speaking, as well as all the candidates have been invited to speak at the NAACP Forum located at the BESA building, which is in the Department of Health building behind the prison. So behind the jail, not prison, behind the jail. Okay, so you can hear from me as well as the person who I am running against. You can hear both, her view and my view, right? So I think that's good for you guys to have balance. You got to be able to hear, different views. So that is Friday. That following Friday, I'm having a fun town hall that is just for you to come, and I will be the only one that will be speaking there. But we can just get up close and personal because you may have a question that other people may have as well. So this gives you an opportunity that maybe if you're a little shy and don't want to be put on a hot spot, you can hear what somebody else is asking, and then you can hear my response to that question. And believe it or not, it's almost time to vote. Voting starts October 21st. But because of the storms, there's been an extension. You have until October 14th to register to vote. So if there's people that are not registered to vote, that you still have time. They could vote on. They could register online at scvotes.gov, or they can also go down to the Pick 42 Foundation office and register to vote. They're registering people to vote down there at the Pick 42 Foundation office. And then I have some other fun stuff that's coming out. So my voice is suffering and struggling. I'm going to stop talking today, but I thank you all for listening to Mondays with Miko. And let's continue to stay engaged. Let's continue to invest in our community both with our heart as well as our mind, as well as our finances. And when we do that, I promise you, we will be stronger together. Bye, y'all. Have a good week.